Assalamu alaikum students, welcome again. Welcome to the third session of week 12 lecture. This one is about types of interview. Basically, this topic is about job interview and we were on types of interview. हम types of interview को discuss कर रहे थे. Now, how we have to and what are the types of interview right now we have to find out. Structured interview, semi-structured interview and unstructured interview. ये अभी हमने discuss किया very important types and generally from the design, that means when we are talking about categorization of interview purpose, design और structure के point of view से तो ये हमारा structure के साथ link करता है. Now this one is about, we can say, structured, formal जिसको हम कहते हैं, unstructured, sorry, this one is semi structured interview जिसको हम कहते हैं mixed interview, and semi interview bhi hum kehte hain. Another one is about formal and this is your informal and this is your formal interview. So now move to the next slide. We have to see about the detail of we can say the definition and concept of different types of interview. First one is about structured interview. Now what is structured interview? Use questionnaire based on a predetermined and standardized or identical set of questions. दैट मीन्स ऑलरेडी आपने कुछ क्वेश्चनर्स बनाए हुए होते हैं एक स्पेसिफिक स्टैंडर्ड के अकॉर्डिंग, जस्ट लाइक जैसे आपके एमसीक्यूज होते हैं या ऑब्जेक्टिव्स भी होते हैं, या इफ यू वांट टू तो यू हैव टू आस्क सम सेट ऑफ सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस, जो एक स्टैंडर्ड एक आपका स्पेसिफिक सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस बने होते हैं जिसकी बेस पे यू हैव टू आस्क दैट you can ask from the individual. So that can be the structured interview, and we refer to them as interviewer administrator administered questionnaires. So this one is structured interview जो आपके classify हुए होते हैं, जो specify हुए होते हैं. Semi structured interview. Now what is semi structured interview? Very important type. जनरली हम थोड़ा सा कम फेमिलियर होते हैं, बट वी आर यूज टू ऑफ, अगर हम इंटरव्यू के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो इसको फॉलो किया जाता है. द रिसर्चर्स विल हैव अ लिस्ट ऑफ थीम्स एंड क्वेश्चंस टू बी कवर्ड. Generally, researchers के पास their number of things or themes and questions to be covered. Although these may vary from interview to interview, generally हमारा semi structured का कोई एक specific structure नहीं होता, because it's a mixture of semi and you can say structured and unstructured. So that is the reason it's there is no hard and fast rule कि आपको properly इसको आपके हर तरह के जो भी बताया जाए उसको follow किया जाए. Sometime if someone wants to, as per the situation and requirement and the programs, आप accordingly question कर सकते हैं किसी भी candidate से. This means that you may omit some questions in particular interviews and give a specific organizational context, right? So it's up to you. This is what I'm telling you. जो आपके organizational context के point of view से, if you want to add some specific question, so it's up to you. That is encountered in relation to the research topic. So the order of question also be varied depending on the flow of conversation. So again, it's very important. The order of conversation also change as per the requirement of the conversation. Sometime आप एक flow में होते हैं, एक individual से number of questions आप पूछ रहे होते हैं, तो there is fine. दूसरे individual से if it is like आप as per the mood, as per the situation, कोई आपकी टी ब्रेक आ गई है, whatever, so accordingly you can make the changes in your the way you have to conduct the interview. So it's up to you. On the other hand, additional questions may be required to explore your research questions and objectives given the nature of events within particular organizational requirements or particular organizations. So again, you can explore the new things or research questions like एक specific individual है, अगर आपका software से interest है, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग से इफ़ यू वांट टू मूव ऑनवर्ड, अगर आप डेटा माइनिंग की तरफ मूव करते हैं तो उसमें अगर आपका एक स्पेसिफिक एरिया है और वहाँ से पूछा जाता है तो डेफिनेटली यू हैव टू आंसर अकॉर्डिंगली एंड एज पर द you can say question from one question to another question, जो हम sequential way में questioning कर रहे होते हैं उसके accordingly जब आप question करते हैं तो if you want to ask anything you can ask definitely. So that can be semi structured interview. Unstructured or informal interview. Now, this one is unstructured or informal interview. Now, what is unstructured interview? Unstructured interview are generally, these are your informal interview. You would use these to explore in depth a general area in which you are interested. So what you have to do, you have to in depth, you want to explore each and everything. So that is also known as in-depth interview or in-depth study or in-depth knowledge we want to explore or we want to find out. So there is no predetermined list of questions to work through in this situation. Although you need to have a clear idea about the aspects that you want to explore. So clearly you have to know what a person or what the next person can ask from you. The interview is given the opportunity to talk freely about the event's behavior and beliefs in relation to the topic area. So you have the opportunity, whatever you want to say at the same time, but in unstructured, it's a bit informal way of interview, and it's a bit difficult and hard to answer the unstructured interview. So that was about basic types, that was about structured, unstructured, and semi-structured interview. Next, from research and study point of view, in an exploratory research study, in-depth interviews can be very helpful to find out what is happening and seek new insight. Semi-stretched interviews may be used in relation to the exploratory studies. Generally, exploratory studies के point of view से देखा जाए तो in-depth interviews use किए जाते हैं. That is very helpful. When we are talking about in descriptive studies, structured interviews are very useful. And when we are talking about explanatory studies, semi structured interview can be used in order to understand the relationship between the variables, such as those revealed from the descriptive study. Structured interview may also be used in relation to an explanatory study. Generally, explanatory study के point of view से देखा जाए या descriptive study के point of view से देखा जाए तो structured and semi-structured are very much helpful. So this one is about types of interview and major types of जो हमारी मेजर टाइप्स यूज होती हैं, जो मेजर ग्रुप्स यूज करते हैं हम या मेजर कैटेगराइजेशन यूज करते हैं, दैट वाज अबाउट स्ट्रक्चर्ड, unstructured and semi-structured interview. Now types are methods of interview. Next one is, now what are the types and methods of interview? Common types of interview. Now, what are the common types of interview? Generally, जो आपकी use की जाती हैं, that can be the common types of interview. These are the common types of interview, like one-on-one or face-to-face. We can say interview. That is a common type of use examples to demonstrate your skills. Generally, it's face-to-face meeting. That is, we can say one-on-one interview type. Next one is about group interview, panel interview, or you can say that is again look primarily at the person who asked the question. So again, it's very important who will ask the question, you have to answer him. Second, very you can say common type of second interview are usually about fit and personality more than skills. That we can say behavioral skills के point of view. Say we want to find out your interpersonal skills, that can be the second interview. And generally we can say sequential interview जब आपका जैसे आपकी आपके एटॉमिक के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से और जितनी सेंसिटिव नेचर है जॉब्स है आईएसएसपी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपका पैनल की फॉर्म में इंटरव्यू होता है बट देयर मस्ट बी अ साइकियाट्रिस्ट हु वांट्स टू फाइंड आउट the psyche of the individual, what's the positive and negative points of the individual, because आपकी जॉब सेंसिटिव नेचर होती है तो दैट इज द रीजन सेंसिटिव नेचर ऑफ जॉब के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So for that reason you have to know about the you can say that person has to sit with the panel, the psychiatrist right out there. And same case generally आपके different departments के अंदर sequential way में इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट किए जाते हैं. जस्ट लाइक एचआर मैनेजर से होता है आपका, ये एचआर हेड से होता है आपका, टेक्निकल लाइक आईटी डिपार्टमेंट से हैं तो आईटी डिपार्टमेंट के हेड से होगा. अगर आप यू कैन से आपका कोई और स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप हेड है तो उससे होगा. सो द नंबर ऑफ 5 to 7 डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर और हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के हेड से आपका एक स्पेसिफिक इंटरव्यू लिया जाता है और वन बाय वन देन यू हैव टू गो ऑनवर्ड. इवन तो आईएसएसपी के अंदर भी आपको वन बाय वन देयर सेट ऑफ स्टेप्स जो टास्क दिए जाते हैं देन यू हैव टू go for the final interview. So these are the different ways through which a person can evaluate you and your performance. So there are a number of things that we can evaluate, not only performance, there are a number of things that we want to see when we are talking about interview and the way we have to conduct the interview and what we want to find out on the basis of interview. Now, less common types of interview, generally जो बहुत कम इंटरव्यू ये तो बहुत कॉमनली इंटरव्यूज कंडक्ट किए जाते हैं एंड वी आर यूज्ड टू ऑफ इनका हमें आइडिया है less common types of job interview just like telephonic interview. Most of the time we just want to our it's like on telephone we have to answer the questions that can be like if we are outside the country and so on. So उस केस में हमारी टेलीफोनिक इंटरव्यू हो जाता है आजकल की जो सिचुएशन है इसमें भी डेफिनेटली मोबाइल एंड ऑल दैट इज वेरी you can say useful. So इस तरह की situations के अंदर another one is about group interview and this one is a find a positive way to stand out from the crowd. So this one is about a group interview when you have to ask from the individual in the form of group, you have to take the interview. That is up to some extent linked with the panel. Then testing could be about personality or ability. Sleep well the night before and don't try to beat the test. Okay, so this is very important. This one is linked with the behavioral, you can say testing or behavioral interview judgment. So a person wants to find out interpersonal skills of the individual, the way you have to deal with the individuals, जिसको हम कहते हैं लीडरशिप स्किल्स क्या है आपके आपके रिलेशनशिप्स कैसे हैं इंडिविजुअल्स के साथ, पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप क्या है, और मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मार्केटिंग और एचआर की और एडमिनिस्ट्रेशनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव नेचर की जो जॉब्स होती हैं उसमें आपके relationships both count karte hain. That means the way you have to talk to someone, the way you have to deal with the customer or client, it's very important because at the end of the day आपका सारा काम आपके client पे आपके customer पे depend करता है. If your customer is not satisfied then everything is like zero. So that is very important. So you have to be very much careful, and for that reason employer has to be careful because at the end of the day एम्प्लॉयर की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उसका गुडविल उसकी प्रेस्टिज इमेज ईच एंड एवरीथिंग दैट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द you can say the way you have to deal with the clients and the customer. So goodwill is very important. That is on the basis of we can say हम इतने सालों काम करते हैं और goodwill बनाते हैं और within few seconds if we want to तो हम उसको collapse कर सकते हैं, हम उसको खत्म कर सकते हैं. So this is very important. That is the reason goodwill is the assets of the organization. So just like good employees are the assets of the organization because good employees are always loyal to the organization and loyal individual is like आपकी loyalty और sincerity आजकल बहुत कम होती है and that is like the blessing for any organization, blessing for the organization for the you can say for their again for their productive achievements and all that उसके लिए बहुत important होती है. So be productive and loyal for the organization, loyal employee for them. Make yourself loyal employee for the organization. This is very important because at the end of the day in our life we have to be sincere and we have to be answerable for everything. So anyhow, so next one is about another very you can say uncommon way of we can say interview जो generally हमारे पाकिस्तान के अंदर थोड़ा सा कम होता है but in foreign countries people are used to of like lunch or dinner इंटरव्यू जिसको हम कहते हैं और मील इंटरव्यू जनरली इन सारों को हमने इन डिटेल आगे भी डिस्कस करना था बट यहाँ पे हमने काफ़ी डिटेल में डिस्कस कर लिया है. Further then we have to see or order simple food so you can focus on the conversation and the way you have to order the food and what type of food you want to, so through which a person can judge your nature and judge you. So this is very important. Be simple in everything whenever you will order for something, the way you you can say um, dress your plate or you can say fill your plate and the way you have to use fork and knife and all that. So this is very important. Working that can be competency based interview and these are the interviews जो हम देख चुके हैं. This one is left and lunch dinner हो चुका है. This is competency and task oriented up to some extent एक जैसे ही है. On competency based, we just want to find out our individual are the, you can say, output of the individual on the basis of your task. हम कुछ task दे के कुछ activities की base पे we want to find out the output of the individual. We want to find out the way you have to deal in that specific situation. So be prepared to complete some type of work and samples and so on. जैसे हम कोई प्रोग्राम दे देते हैं आपको कि आपने ये करना है, या हम आपको टास्क दे देते हैं कि कल आपने ये एप्लीकेशन बना के लानी है. So on the basis of task, on the basis of competency, we want to find out okay, what's the, you can say, competency of the individual, what's the skill of the individual. So that can be the working job interview. Stress, don't panic. It's very important thing. It's very difficult for individual to manage themselves in the stress situation. Mostly लोग panic में, stress में, they are not able to work. And decision lena on that spot at that time, it's very difficult thing. And that is the basic thing through which we can say a person can move onward. अगर stress में आप अपने आप को manage कर लेते हैं तो that can be a person, a simple employee can be a good manager. So अगर आप स्ट्रेस में मैनेज नहीं करते, शाउट करते हैं, चीज़ों को प्रॉपरली हैंडल नहीं कर सकते हैं, इधर उधर आप यू कैन से मूव कर देते हैं काम को, so that can be the negative way, and that means you are not a good manager, and at the same time you are not able to manage all these things in a proper way. So this is very important in panic and stress situation, the way you have to tackle the things, the way you have to deal with the individuals, the way you have to talk to any individual. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वैसे तो हम सब अच्छे होते हैं, लेकिन जब एक डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन आती है उसके अंदर आप कितने अच्छे तरीके से किसी के साथ बोलते हैं और बिहेव करते हैं. बीइंग अ इंडिविजुअल, हमारे रिलीजन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड थ्रू विच वी कैन फाइंड आउट जनरली एक स्ट्रेस और पैनिक की सिचुएशन में वी कैन फाइंड आउट कि एक इंडिविजुअल कैसे बिहेव करता है. जो हमारा बिहेवियरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी चली जाती हैं ये चीज़ें, जिसको हम बिहेवियरल interview भी कहते हैं. So these are the general types of interview that can be the common and less common types of interview. इनको हम in detail next हमारी slides के अंदर बहुत डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. Thank you so much students for this session.